Cool. So I don't know if Baz warned you. Yeah, I know. Take your breath now. Grab a drink of water.
I can get
Shake
rid of
it
the
all
hood.
out. Yeah. Hey, what was... You going all Jedi Master on me there?
Yeah, no. That was just the closest I could get to looking like a witch.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know if Baz warned you, but I get to write down things that you said that would make a great title. And these are all quoted by you. I'm going to read them back to you. You pick your favorite, and that will be the title for episode 293.
Ooh, okay.
Magically found an answer. Weird stuff tends to happen. Of course they did. A murder of crows is murdering something outside. The challenge is healing. Or you really can find happiness.
The weird stuff.
Okay.
Whatever that. Say that one again.
Weird stuff tends to happen.
Yeah, that should be my you just
That's
put
the
my
title of your autobiography.
Yeah. Yeah. My memoir is going to be My Life on the Toilet. Like that's
right.
My theme song is Welcome to My Nightmare by Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
So weird stuff tends to happen is
pretty spot on.
That's on brand.
All right. Baz, you still recording?
Yeah. Oh.
Welcome to episode 293. Weird stuff tends to happen.
Got it.
Cool. This is the Road Podcast. I'm Vance Bastian here with my co-host S.A. Baz Collins, and we're really glad you're here with us. Our guest today is R.L. Merrill. Road brings you stories of hope, love, and rock and roll, featuring quirky and relatable characters. Whether she's writing about contemporary issues that affect us all, or diving deep into the paranormal and supernatural to give readers a shiver, she loves creating compelling stories that will stay with readers long after. Winner of the Catherine Hayes When Sparks Fly Best Contemporary Award for Hurricane Reese, and a Forward Indies finalist for Summer of Hush, Rose spends every spare moment improving her writing craft and striving to find that perfect balance between real life and happily ever after. She writes diverse and inclusive romance, contributes paranormal hilarity to Robin Peterman's Magic and Mayhem universe, and works on various other writing and mentoring projects that tickle her fancy or benefit a worthy cause. You can find her connecting with readers on social media, educating America's youth, raising two brilliant teenagers, writing horror-inspired music reviews for horroraddicts.net, trying desperately to get that back piece finished in the tattoo chair, or headbanging at a rock show near her home in the San Francisco Bay Area. Stay tuned for more rock and romance. But for now, Ro, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Round of applause.
Can you just come with me to every event from now on and read the bio?
Right.
That was cool.
I had an error. I boofed it.
No, but it was the energy behind it. That was perfect.
Well, thank you. So
he's on drugs.
I feel phlegmy, oh so phlegmy. I'm phlegmy and snotty and gross. It's not about me singing. It's about your writing. So where did the fire start?
Where did the fire start?
Before you say that, right now it just sounded like you said, when did the fucker start?
Are we allowed to say that?
That could be appropriate.
All right.
It actually started with an illness. Yeah. I had been teaching for 100 years.
You're my new favorite immortal.
So I don't feel immortal. I feel very mortal. This is actually year 27 as an educator. And
Nice.
About 11 years ago, I was tapped to start a new program for all day class middle school students. I had 15 sixth, seventh, and eighth graders all day to myself with an aide. And these were all children that had been taken out of their homeschool because they had been in trouble. And they put them all together in one class all day. They were wonderful. I loved the kids, but I was exhausted. And by April, I had pneumonia and a sinus infection that required surgery.
Ooh.
And so I spent the summer trying to get back on my feet. And I was just miserable and just bitter because of politics in the school district. And so I had to do something because I had little kids at home, and you can't be angry and bitter at the world when you're raising little kids. I mean, I guess you can, but I didn't feel that I should do that. So I had to get it out somehow. And I just started writing this story about someone who was in exactly the same situation I was, but who magically found an answer to her problems in the perfect job. Right. Yeah. And it turned into this paranormal story, which I actually didn't publish until this year. And it's called Healer. And there's an evil cult leader. There's supernatural. I pitched it sort of as X-Men meets Split.
Oh, fun.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
So it was something I sat on for a lot of years because I wasn't ready to put it out. I pitched it. I tried to sell it, and I didn't get any interest. And so I got interest. I got, I don't know how we would market that,
Right.
So, but I finally put it out this year, and actually I'm hoping to finish the second book during NaNoWriMo, which starts tomorrow.
Yep.
I don't feel ready for it. I'm tired. I don't know that I feel ready to crank out 50,000 words in a month.
So it will all be like, the characters are really tired and exhausted.
Yeah.
And everything will happen from afar, and they'll just be lounging on the chair.
Lots of, fuzzy pajamas and fireplaces.
Yep.
Excellent. By the way, just so people know, we are recording this on Halloween itself. That's why the spooky stuff. So if you watch this in January of 2021, when we're all hopefully happy that something new is going to happen, fingers crossed, that's why. That's why.
But my house will still look like this. This is a picture from my living room, and it may or may not be put away, depending on what happens in the near future.
She literally scares the Easter Bunny every year.
Yeah.
Got to get the eggs out somehow.
There you go.
So you have some new releases we get to talk about.
Yes.
Which one do you want to start on?
Well, the surprise one was I wrote this story for a convention I was supposed to go to the week after we went into shelter in place.
Got it.
And Book Lovers Con in Nashville, and it didn't happen. And now it's happening in April in Florida. So I'm not going to that either.
Right.
So I had written a special story to give to readers that came to one of my events. And I ended up sending them the code early, and there were like 75 people that had registered to go, and only 6 people opened it. And so I was like, I'm going to put this out because I really like this story. Mm-hmm. And so I went ahead and put it out on the 13th because that's my lucky day.
Nice.
And it was a really fun story that I sort of linked to my overall paranormal series, which takes place in the afterlife, or takes place with intervention specialists from the afterlife who kind of come back and help people solve their crap.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's kind of a twisted, what was it? Michael Landon, The Angel Show. Touched by an Angel. Was that his? I forget. Or was that was the woman had the Touched by an Angel?
Oh, yeah, that was Della Reese, wasn't it? Or,
yeah. No, Michael Landon's was that he traveled from place to place, and yeah. So anyway, my character's
Little House on the Prairie guy goes to
yeah. He's an angel, and he goes and fixes things. So like the afterlife kung fu. Which, by the way, I watched The Mandalorian, the first episode of the second season yesterday, and I
haven't yet.
Husband, this is Kung Fu in space. I see that. It was really good, but I was like, this is Kung Fu in space. Like, why are we billing it as anything other than this?
Well, okay, short deviation. I do know that they kind of wanted that gunslinger feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're delivering.
Yeah.
So, back to your book. We should give people the title at some point in this talk.
Yes, it is
It'll be at the end.
A Peculiar Prom Night.
A Peculiar Prom Night. And it is more focused on the chaperones, a brother and sister duo who kind of have a little bit of intuition in their family. And so weird stuff tends to happen around them, but they aren't open about it, right?
Well,
so
who would be?
Brother Ruben is messing with the vice principal, like needling him because he really likes him. So it's kind of like that person you have a crush on in school. I'm telling you, when you work in schools, it really turns your like courting ability back to like 13 years old.
Well, there's a reason why Buffy the Vampire Slayer was set there. So,
Yeah. I mean, the adults are just as bad as the kids, if not worse, probably worse. So, and I actually have chaperoned very many formal dances, and it's always fun. But it always does kind of put you in that mindset. And so the brother, Ruben, is trying to connect with the vice principal, who is just not having it, and for his own reasons. And then the sister, Ramona, meets the father of one of her former students, and he's there to chaperone because he's friends with her brother. And of course, so there's this little, what's happening. And then the lights go out, and then a ghost ship happens to come and park at the pier outside of the venue where they're having the prom. But of course, nobody's aware but them, and they don't know what's going to happen. So there's, ghostly hijinks. And then Maggie and Lewis, my intervention specialists from the afterlife, show up and give a helping hand to the brother and sister pair. And yeah. So it was a lot of fun to write. I put that out. It's a novella. And then this week, we had our big, huge group launch for the Magic and Mayhem universe, which the books are set in Robin Peterman's world of Ass Jacket, West Virginia. At some point, I will learn where the name of the town came from, because
I wanted to ask.
Well,
I'm actually not sure, but the way Robin's mind works is just,
there is a lot of towns like that have really bizarre names.
Yeah.
I know there's one called Knock'em Stiff.
Yes.
That's out there. So there's really funky town names in that area.
Yeah. But I don't think it's a real. I don't know if it's a real town name, but it's a magical town for shifters and supernatural creatures. But there's a glamour on the town, so anybody who's not a supernatural will go by and think it's a ghost town, and they won't stay. They're compelled to leave.
Okay.
So, but in this particular case, in my story, I started writing for her. This is the fourth book that I did. And in the first book, I had this band, because I write rock music, characters. This band had a big bus crash outside of town. And one of the members of the band ended up, he is a supernatural creature, but his band didn't know that. So his story was told over the first three books. So I always wondered, okay, well, what happened to the rest of his band? Oh, well, they got turned into vampires. Of course they did. So they start off this book wandering around in the woods. They've just been turned. They don't understand what's happened to them. And they cross the path with a weather witch who has been cursed and can't control the weather. So she's a weather girl for the local news channel. And she is covering the lunar eclipse that is about to happen when she literally runs into these brand new vampires who don't understand what's happened to them. So, yeah. So that's where the story starts.
You know, when you talked about the town with the glamour and creeping people out, and I just thought to myself, yeah, well, that wouldn't stop you. You'd wander right in.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, I'm not. We were just talking about this the other day on a podcast that I did with, or a live stream I did with some other authors. And the one place though that could keep me out would be a former asylum. I'm not sure I'm ready for that kind of energy.
For that kind of level, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I like to stay in haunted hotels, and I've been to a lot of creepy places, but that's the one that you're not going to catch me hanging out in.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's just because crazies would get to you even if they were real. So, that's a normal fear.
Or I might be too at home.
She's back.
Yeah, exactly. We've been waiting for you.
Right. See, Vance, you must wonder how Backwell gets anything done.
I do. I really do at this point.
We don't know either.
I know a couple of you now, and I'm like, who's driving this ship?
Marvin.
Yeah,
Okay, I get it. He can keep you in line. I get it. No questions anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so that novel was Fang Me 3 times?
Fang Me 3 times, yes.
Nice.
Because she's cursed, and of course, it turns out that he's the one that can break the curse, but can he do it without turning her into a vampire?
No.
Dun, dun, dun.
I want to ask, and I know that's a spoiler, so don't tell me, but yay.
Let's just say that the book ended up having a very Scooby-Doo ending, and I loved it.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to highlight in either book?
I would say in A Peculiar Prom Night, one of the things that I really, really loved, and, a lot of times when I write shorter stuff, because I do write long novels, novellas, short stories. I like doing the flash fiction contest with Queer Sci-Fi every year, which is 300 words. That I like the challenge of writing different lengths, but I always find myself when I write novellas wishing that I had more time with these characters.
Sure.
And Ruben and Victor in this story, I really wish that I would have had more time with them. So I may not be done writing about them because, they had a lot to overcome. It's definitely a enemies to lovers workplace kind of a relationship. Mm-hmm. And there's a very key moment when Ruben realizes, the reason I feel so much animosity towards him is because I'm really in love with him. So yeah, that was fun to write, and I don't know that I'm quite finished with them yet.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun when you write characters, and even I like it when it's like a happenstance thing. You write them thinking, they'll be a nice addition to the story. That happened for me. I was writing a story about two boys, and all of a sudden I had two other characters. I'm like, and I used to get all giggly when I get to write about them. And I thought, wait a minute, this is not about them.
Are you talking about Angus?
Yes, I'm talking about Angus.
Yeah, I figured.
Nice.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm. I totally get it. So speaking on that, where do you think the state of paranormal romance is? Do you think we've gone through every permutation that you think that's out there? Or where do you see the genre as a whole from the time you entered it to where it is now?
So I grew up being a huge horror fan. Mm-hmm. And so
I wouldn't know.
In case you
there
wondered.
Are no clues.
Yeah,
Right.
Not a clue. I didn't read for a long time, especially not I didn't actually read romance until about the time I got sick. Actually, I started reading. My husband had just gotten a Kindle, and so he left it at home with me. And our credit card bill went up pretty fast.
Wow.
It's like, I finished that one. You could just buy another one right now.
So I have to ask a side question. Was there a point where he came to you and he's like, why is Amazon suggesting all these books to me?
Oh, so yeah, he doesn't. He especially that didn't really come up until I got him a Kindle Fire. This was a Paperwhite, so the Fire really shows those covers.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, he was kind of like, okay, he's a Libra, like he is just the even keeled. Yeah, like whatever you want it. Really, okay, you're gonna do that now. Okay. All right, he's very patient, tolerant to a point.
Yeah,
to a point. Lately, since we've been together 24/7 since March, because he's working in the house, and we have 2 teenagers, and all of us are in the house, and we have 1 toilet. We have a very small house, as you do in the Bay Area, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
She has what we would call an estate.
Yes, I do. We're actually in my, what would you, this is my patio room. Like I don't know what this would be the
conservatory.
The conservatory. That's lovely. Yeah, he's lost a little bit of patience, and he'll say no more often now.
Uh-huh.
But the reading was one thing when we got married 21 years ago. We told each other I would never tell him he couldn't buy books, and he would never tell me I couldn't buy music. And so that was set in stone when we moved in together and throughout our whole marriage. So we have this room that I'm in actually is full of bookshelves.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I just had to take the books, like half of our books out though, because we needed the shelf space for like my son's Legos and my husband's painting stuff and his marble collection and antique marbles. Yeah.
Cool.
So he can't say no about a lot of things.
Fair.
Because he has his things too. So anyway, so the Kindle he's just kind of rolls his eyes about it.
All right.
Yeah. And I did manage, we do read some of the same stuff, but not a lot. Like I read more like the mystery thriller stuff we'll read together. But he's more space opera, military, alternate history, and I'm more horror and romance and that kind of thing. And as far as where is paranormal romance going?
Oh yeah, the question.
Yeah, the question that was actually asked. Great.
I would say that we're going to see I think we're going to see a resurgence a bit over the next year, especially because
we all feel like ghosts haunting a house.
I think some people have gone to one end of the spectrum is reading all of the romantic comedy and all of the Hallmark movies and all of that to make themselves feel better. The rest of us are going as dark and scary as we possibly can because it's not as scary as what's happening for real.
No, that's exactly why I like horror movies.
Yes.
And, I used to watch them when I wasn't feeling well. I'd always watch a horror movie and it made me feel better. And people couldn't figure out why. And I would just say, well, it's because I like watching somebody who's having a worse time than I am.
Well, that, and it's going to end.
Yeah. Yeah, True.
After 2 hours, it's over and you can go back to your life so you can be really, really scared and get it out of your system. And yeah. So I know that lots of editors and agents have been asking for vampires. They've been asking.
Oh, so we're back on that track again?
And so, yeah, so I think we're going to see, there's a YA book called Crave. I can't remember the author's name. That was like an immediate Walmart and Target and everybody picked it up. And so I guess they're kind of thinking that folks are going to ride that for a while. We'll see. I certainly would be happy with that.
Do you think that there'll be, lately the big thing that I've seen overall are mashups where you've got genres that are crossing that typically don't cross, kind of thing. Yeah. And it can even border between on magical realism or things like that where the supernatural kind of touches in the real world kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that to me is sort of the natural progression, I think, and I kind of hope. I like superheroes. I do. I like superheroes. I am really over superheroes, but I'm ready to see kind of like the next permutation of that, which is that normal people, the supernatural is involved in people's lives, and how that manifests. Let's make it a little more creative than somebody in tights and a cape.
Right. No capes.
No capes, darling.
Yeah, no capes,
darling.
That was the best sequence ever.
Yes.
Oh my God. Anyway, I'll stop. Edna's one of my favorite voices.
So what else have you got cooking? I know you're saying you're thinking of working on that book next, but in our COVID era, we're trying to be inventive and stay contacted with our readers and
I have a panel this afternoon, actually, in just a couple of hours. This group called CasaCon. I guess they did a stay-at-home convention conference thing.
Oh, Casa. I was thinking Cossack. CasaCon.
No, that's not hopeful.
Yeah, no.
But
it's kind of like appropriate for the Halloween season. You could do haunted Cossacks.
No, they did a con over the summer, I guess, and it's everybody's staying at home, so let's bring people together, kind of thing. And so they invited a couple of us to talk about paranormal romance. But after this weekend, other than trying to write like a fiend, I don't have another scheduled book release, which is weird. Like I am planning to write this book in November and December and get it to my editor in February and put it out in March. But that's an indie thing, and I think that's part of the reason why I'm still trying to find a traditional publisher again after leaving my publisher earlier this year, because I need that something to look forward to kind of keep me moving. If it's just me, I can do it for a while, but I just, it
can be tiring. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm after I finish this indie book, I'm going to take some time to write a couple of projects that I can query, and then I'll get back to finishing my indie series, and we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Surviving the shelter in place. That's my goal.
Nice.
Coming out without,
So where online is the best place for people to follow? And I know you write in a bunch of places. So is there like one place where you announce what you're doing?
My website, www.rlmerrillauthor.com. I have a newsletter-y thingy that I send out once or twice a month.
Owl or crow?
Yeah. Pigeon, carrier pigeon.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
My dad actually had raised pigeons when I was growing up. They were outside my bedroom window, and he would take them away and let them go, and they would come home. And
any final words of wisdom?
Stay hopeful. It's scary right now, but scary is okay. It's okay to be scared, and we will come out on the other side.
That's right.
Yeah. Better and stronger.
Right. It's like Kamala said, this moment will pass.
Yep.
Yes. My mother said that all the time when I was growing up. Nothing is forever in high school, and this too shall pass.
Right.
Very nice.
I have to believe that.
Who knows if there'll be an Earth when it passes, but
And on that happy note, folks,
well, it is Halloween today.
We'd like to extend a huge thank you to R.L. Merrill for being with us here today. Ro, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Now, head out there and pick up either a Peculiar Prom Night or Fang Me 3 times, or both, and enjoy your dip into paranormal romance. Have a happy, happy November, everyone. Bye-bye.
Closing time. The bums rush in melody, dear.